I ran across this on bid shoots, and this man is talking, and he is spot on. Other than one thing, he's under the assumption that Charlie Kirk was actually murdered. Other than that, I agree with everything he says. He's got it. I mean, man knows what he's talking about, in my opinion.
Well, it's really quite remarkable if you think about it, because we're watching in real time in America the fabrication of history, the rewriting of history, the fabrication of false folklore happening in real time, which is just the first draft of a fake history. They're doing it right now with their boy Charlie Kirk. You know, suddenly this person has become like an empty vessel into which they can pour all of the cliches in popular culture about martyred leaders, you know, people who stood for something, and who got, cut down in their prime. It's like if you ask ChatGPT or some Hollywood hack screenwriter to come up with a fictional stereotype of a man of the people, someone who truth teller, wasn't afraid to tell the truth and whatnot, stand up for his principles and so forth, and he gets cut down in his prime. Here's your story. This is the premise. This is what they're doing. So now you wrap up the actual historical record of this man. You wrap that up in the gauze of these cliches and this cynical sentimentality until the actual man himself is completely obscured. And in fact, this is how you wrote your whole history. And we're watching it now play out in real time. You mythologize like you're doing now. And you're watching that myth-making process going on right now with Charlie Kirk. Like I say, in real time, in just the last few months. The truth of the matter is, Kirk was barely known to most people. He was just a weird, far-right grifter, following in the footsteps of the likes of Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, with his Change My Mind bit, Milo Yiannopoulos, and others, spewing fallacious white nationalist, KKK, xenophobic, racist talking points, rapid fire, first probably in his bathroom mirror, and then on college campuses to choirs of chronically online, inexperienced college kids. That's all he was. That's what he was. That's what Charlie Kirk was. And like I said, almost nobody had ever heard of him before. I mean, just look at the Google searches. Look at the Google searches of his name prior to his murder. It's non-existent. This was not an influential man. This was not someone who was changing the world. He was part of the right-wing traveling circus, like those old, the traveling carnivals that they used to have going from town to town. I don't know if anyone today even remembers that. And that's what he was doing, and just flogging the same old talking points, peddling the same old dogmas of the power structure, completely, fully aligned with the rich and powerful, and generally attacking the weak and the vulnerable. Paid to be an imperialist colonial apologist, doing that brave, courageous work of justifying white supremacy in a white supremacist country. Company man, that's what he was. And he made himself extremely wealthy, basically by being a shoeshine boy for power. That's what Charlie Kirk was, let's be honest. That's literally the easiest way to get wealthy in America. But you'll notice now, no one is actually talking about what he ever said, what he actually pushed, what he actually peddled, what his paid opinions were, what his actual words were. No, they're not talking about that. No one quotes him. He was a thoroughly mediocre mouthpiece for the mediocre white American aristocracy. That's what he was. His mind was never tainted by a single original thought of his own, believe me. So now you've got two Charlie Kirks. You've got the one who actually lived, who was an untalented, unintellectual sycophant of the power structure. And then now you've got the mythologized one, the one mythologized in death, who was a brave truth teller, a paragon of virtue, standing up against the odds, right? Who got cut down because what? He posed a threat to the power structure? It's both comedic and contemptible, to be honest. It's comedic and contemptible how much disdain they have for your intelligence. That they could actually just inflate this false icon and fly Charlie Kirk like a blimp over a stadium and expect you to think that there's anything inside of that blimp except hot air. And now he's got a holiday. The man's got a holiday. He's the new MLK, right? And he comes complete with his own assassination conspiracy theories. It's the perfect media product. It's the perfect media product. That traveling circus that Charlie Kirk was a part of, that traveling circus has turned into a Las Vegas residency show now, starring Candace Owens and Erica Kirk, and an assortment of, random supporting players. Just wait, eventually there's probably going to be a musical about it. I mean, Turning Point USA is not a movement. They call themselves a movement. It's not a movement. It's a multi-million-dollar corporation dodging taxes as a nonprofit organization. It isn't grassroots funded by individual donors. Give me a break. They made it very clear already. They are billionaire sponsored. They're billionaire sponsored. They're state sponsored. They're Israel sponsored, Zionist sponsored. They said it themselves. And all this talk about Charlie Kirk changing his position on Israel, that he was flirting with the idea of joining the anti-Israel faction of the right wing because he was going to lose some of his big Zionist funders. Paid opinions, you understand? How can you hear that and not understand what that is? There's no principle involved in any of this, except for the profit motive. That's the only principle they work by. Genocide won't make him change his mind. But if you don't pay him, his opinion will change. It's transparent. I mean, the level of complete amorality is absolutely astounding. And the most astounding part to me is how they can literally tell you that they're corrupt. They tell you that they're corrupt. They tell you they're greedy, insincere, fake, phony posers, ideological prostitutes, arguing with performed conviction for the highest bidder. That's all they are. That's what they do. And they tell you that. They can show you all of that. And you still convince yourselves that these are virtuous people. That these are virtuous people, that these are leaders, that these are truth tellers, and what have you. That's the really astounding part to me. It's like someone who thinks that, who thinks that ChatGPT is actually sentient, and that it's not just designed to accommodate and to mirror you by predictive pattern recognition. You think it's actually thinking. That's what these people do. They're the same. They're like artificial intelligence, Oh, based on this user's input, this is probably what this moron is going to say next. So let me say it instead. Let me say it before he says it and have him think I'm a genius. You're willing yourselves to believe it. Every single one of these people is nothing but a performer. They don't believe in anything, not a thing, only in their bank accounts. Mercenaries, they're mercenaries. They're ready to peddle whatever ideology, whatever narrative, whatever opinion that the market wants. They don't care any more about the truth than a prostitute cares about love. Honestly. Meanwhile, while you're watching all of these people, you're not even, in your normal daily life, you're not even thinking about what day it is. You don't even think in terms of what day it is or what month it is. Your whole life revolves around payment cycles, doesn't it? When is this due? When is that due? When does the salary come in? When do food stamps come in next week or this week? Which week do the benefits come in? You keep getting more and more in debt even if you don't buy anything. You've got your rent, you've got your house payment, you've got your car payment, you've got your insurance, you've got your utilities, right? You've got groceries, diapers for the baby. You're just a conduit for your money. You don't receive anything. It just moves through you. Whatever you work for, your salary and so forth, it just flows through you right back out. You work to earn, and you earn just to pay out. And then you have to pick and choose which of your necessities, which necessity is going to be met this week, and what can wait until next week. Right? This is your life. I know it. You write checks that you hope they won't clear before the money hits your bank account. And then it's going to sit in your bank account for the blink of an eye. It's only going to be in there for just a moment. But you're sitting here engrossed in the drama of whether or not Candace Owens, the millionaire, is going to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk, the millionaire. Right? Because it has to be a conspiracy. Obviously, it's completely implausible that the guy whose gun it is, the guy who was seen getting off the roof, the guy who confessed. No, it's completely implausible in America, where there are literally more guns than there are people, and there's more mass shootings than there are anywhere else in the world. It's completely implausible that Kirk was just simply shot by some guy. No, that just makes no sense. That could not possibly be the explanation. It makes much more sense that there had to be a grand conspiracy in which the local police colluded, the FBI colluded, Turning Point colluded, Erica Kirk colluded, and even international intelligence agencies colluded, and some billionaire cabal colluded, all to take out this objectively insignificant, fringe, mediocre drifter who made all of his money by hateful rage baiting on behalf of the power structure. I'm telling you, Candace Owens does not believe a single word that she says. Neither does Erica Kirk. And this whole whodunit movie, this whole whodunit drama series is being produced just so that you can busy yourself with that when you actually have much more urgent and much more important crises of your own that you should be dealing with. Watch, some of you are going to come into the comments right now after what I just said. I know some of you are going to come in the comment section talking about your own conspiracy theories to argue about, the whatever the angle of the bullet and so forth. You won't be able to restrain yourself to argue about this completely irrelevant and unrelated to your own life scripted performance piece. And look, I'm not saying that I know who was responsible for the killing of Charlie Kirk or what other characters might have been involved behind the scenes. I don't know. But what I am saying is that there is no reason whatsoever why you should care. Literally, none of the people who are performing this drama right now care. Believe me, why should you care? They don't care. Like I said, they have already gone full throttle in actually erasing the reality of the person himself and replacing the reality of the person himself with a myth. Well, you can't be more indifferent than that about someone when you literally obscure who they actually were and then paste all over their memory with platitudes and cliched narratives just so that you can cash in. That's contemptuous. And, the whole conspiracy element in all of this is part of the sanitizing. Sanitizing what an ignorant, malignant bigot of a man he was. So you're pretending that he was cut down by the very power structure that he vigorously served. And he's, from beyond the grave calling out for justice. Justice for Charlie. So you want to be on the side of justice. This is how they're playing you. You want to be on the side of justice. So that means that you have to be on the side of Kirk. As if Kirk and justice were ever on the same side during his lifetime. I mean, if Candace Owens wants to get to the bottom of someone's death, someone whose death much more plausibly has been covered up by a conspiracy, if she wants to do that kind of work, then why doesn't she direct her energy to uncover what happened to Trey Reed, a 21-year-old African American who was found hanging from a tree in Mississippi? Why don't you look into that? They found that man hanging from a tree and the police immediately ruled it a suicide. But Trey had no suicidal ideations. His family completely rejects the claim. There was no indication that he would do something like that. I mean, compare the plausibility of the Kirk conspiracy that Candace Owens is peddling to the plausibility of a black man being lynched in Mississippi and the local police, local law enforcement covering it up. What seems more plausible to you? I mean, when has that ever happened, right? Someone to be lynched in Mississippi and have the cops cover it up? It literally happened right near where they murdered Emmett Till in 1955. But I guess we just take whatever the Mississippi cops say about an African American hanged from a tree. We'll just take them at their word. There's nothing to see here. If the police say it was a suicide, okay, it must be a suicide. In that case, the police are unquestionable. But if Charlie Kirk gets shot, oh, well, that must be an international conspiracy. It's an international conspiracy, and you can immediately dismiss the local police explanation for what happened. You can just dismiss their explanation, the FBI explanation. You can dismiss the confession of the shooter himself. No, this is not a person, Candace Owens, this is not a person who cares even remotely about the truth, or even remotely about justice, or about corruption in law enforcement, and obviously not about racism. She's trying to get to the bottom, trying to get to the truth of a straightforward shooting of a racist bigot who spent his entire career in the service of a racist, bigoted power structure. I mean, until now, most murders against African Americans, most African American murder victims, their murders go unsolved in the United States. But you want to now do your bulldog routine to try to solve the already solved murder of some xenophobic sycophant of the power structure who basically advocated the ethnic cleansing of black people in America. So of course you don't care about a possible lynching in Mississippi. But you're all caught up in this. You're all caught up following this drama online. It's like a new Netflix series for some of you. Oh, did you see Candace Owens last night? Her latest episode, she was dropping bombshells. Meanwhile, people like you and I are getting attacked in real life, getting detained, barely able to survive over there, getting swept up by masked ICE agents. I mean, I don't even know why they wear masks when you know they want to wear sheets. People potentially getting lynched in America, black and brown people, Muslim people, homeless people, getting hunted down like dogs. And it is even crimes that need solving. You don't even have to get to the bottom of it because we know who's doing it. Who's doing it are the ones that we would normally have to go to get crimes solved, but they're the ones who are committing the crimes. Do you understand? These are real things happening to normal people in America. Real things happening to normal people. I mean, someone who's caught up right now watching Candace Owens, you're caught up to see what's the next development, what's the next episode, what's the next bombshell in the Erica Kirk, Candace Owens saga about Charlie Kirk and so on, and you're filling your mind with that and you're filling your time with that nonsense. You don't know. You could be the next person that one of these things happens to. Something like this could happen to you. And if it does, you and I both know that there's not going to be a single podcast episode dedicated to finding the truth about what happened to you. There's not going to be a big Star-Spangled Banner funeral rally for you on Fox News. Tucker Carlson is not going to say your name on his platform. Turning Point isn't going to turn to you. And Candace Owens, you can forget about it. And there won't be any liberals either. You'll just disappear into a van and never be heard from again, or you'll be found dangling from a tree branch somewhere, and everyone will just say case closed. Please understand me. Please understand me. These people are for entertainment purposes only. They don't have any feelings whatsoever about anything that they say. Truly. They only say what they say because you have feelings. That's why they say what they say. For them, your feelings and your principles and your values, that's their business model. And no, I'm not saying that they are actually addressing your feelings. That's not their business model. They're not addressing your feelings. They're using your feelings. They use what you believe in just to get you off track. You understand? So that you never address your matters yourself. And see, they'll offer you a nice one and they'll offer you the evil one. They'll offer you one that you can agree with and one that you would disagree with. They're not sure which one you're going to take. They'll offer you one that you like and one that you potentially hate. They don't care. Listen, they don't care what you like. They don't care what you agree with. They don't care what you think is good, as long as you stay within the options that they are offering you. And you are absolutely kidding yourself if you think that any single one of these people are so-called sticking their necks out, or so-called saying the things that no one will say, while they've got $60 million from Netflix just to say it. Or they've got billionaire backers, billionaire sponsors. No, these are just different ends of the allowed narrative spectrum, right? From Nick Fuentes to Jimmy Kimmel, from Tucker Carlson to Stephen Colbert, from Candace Owens to Dave Chappelle, okay? There's not a single one of them, who is saying anything whatsoever that the power structure does not approve of. It is the power structure itself that has made these people multimillionaires, so be serious. These are all characters. That's what they are. They are characters. I mean, literally. These people are characters. They're narrative devices. That's all. The ones that you agree with and the ones that you disagree with. They're all part of the same narrative device toolbox. The ones that you like and the ones that you don't like. They're all literally fictional characters. Candace Owens, Bill Maher, Tucker Carlson, Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk was, Ben Shapiro is, Megyn Kelly, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Rachel Maddow, whoever else. On either side, it doesn't matter. Liberal, conservative, right, left, so on. Not a single one of them believes in a single word that they're saying about anything at any time. They don't believe it any more than someone who's reading their lines in a commercial, in an advertisement, has a deep conviction at the core of their being about the product being sold. They don't feel one way or another about it. They're just saying their lines. And of course, the same obviously applies to the politicians. I don't understand how anyone doesn't already know this already, to be honest. You must already know this. You know, if you see sometimes these media personalities saying something particularly atrocious online or in the media, and you ask yourself, how could they possibly say that? How can they believe that? How could someone be so hateful? How could they be so ignorant? How could they be so delusional? And you see this all the time because they always play to extremes. Well, the answer is they're not delusional. The answer is they're not ignorant. The answer is they're probably not even hateful, to be honest. They don't believe what they're saying. That's the answer. They don't believe what they're saying. They're saying what they're saying because that's the part that they're playing. That's the role. That's their function. The only thing that they believe in is getting paid. That's the only thing they believe in, is getting paid and serving power. All of them, to a T, to a man, even the ones that you think aren't. Look, think about it this way. It's like if you have a shelf of options, right? From this side to this side. You've got Bernie Sanders model over here. You have a Lindsey Graham model over here. You got a Tucker Carlson here. You got a Bill Maher there, and so forth. This shelf of options. You got something for everybody. There's something for everybody. They don't care which one you pick. Doesn't matter. It's like a company, like really a shelf at a grocery store. You got a company that has actually dozens of products, but you think that all of those products belong to different companies, and you think that they're all competitors because you don't know that they're all actually owned by the same parent company. So they don't care if you buy this product or you buy that product because they're both their products. So they don't care which one you take from their shelf. They just don't want you to ever take from any other shelf. That's the problem. That's the only issue that they have. They don't want you to take from any other shelf, and they don't want you to have your own shelf. You understand? So like, for example, when Dave Chappelle closes his, whatever it is, $20 million Netflix special by slamming Israel, no, it doesn't mean that he's sticking his neck out for Palestine. It doesn't mean that he's, taking a risk. It means that it's allowed now. Same with him praising Saudi Arabia. This is allowed now because of everything that I've been talking about for the last 3 years. The power dynamics are shifting. The transition to the global south. The A National OCGFC are in favor of that. The A National OCGFC are anti-Zionist. They are pro-GCC. So the anti-Zionist, pro-GCC opinions have now been added to the narrative shelf. And when they control the shelf, you just have to take whatever is closest to what you want. And if it's not exactly what you want, well, you just take from the available options, whatever is on the shelf. And you only know just that one shelf, right? It's like people who like to wear sports jerseys from some sports team. They want a jersey that has the same number as their favorite player, right? But if the number that they want isn't available, then they'll go with whatever number, as long as they can get the jersey of the team that they like, right? So that you'll settle. It's not exactly what you want, but it's close enough. And if the team jersey isn't available, then you'll get your next the jersey for the next favorite team, your second favorite team, or even if it's the same color scheme or something like that. If you're looking for something, you'll take whatever is the closest thing to what you want. And this is how the narratives work. And this is how the representatives of the narratives work, because you're a captive consumer of narratives, of opinions and commentaries and so forth. See, so you have to end up identifying yourself with one of the brands that's available on that shelf, that narrative shelf. And they'll try to provide something for everyone. That's how you can get total market share control. So you have your Nick Fuentes, for example, and then you have the decaf Charlie Kirk version of the same poison. See, it depends on how intense you want your racist, white supremacist experience, regular or extra spicy. And then it depends on how much fructose or gluten you want in your liberals, right? I mean, you can use whatever analogy works for you, right? Just like back in the day when I was a kid, we had just 3 television networks, so you had to watch whatever was available, whatever was on TV, you had to watch it. It may not have been exactly what you wanted to watch, but you had to choose back in those days from CBS, NBC, and ABC. That's all there was. So whichever one was showing something closer to your tastes, that's what you would watch. And that's what these people are. These are your limited channels. So you have your comedies, you have your dramas, you have your mystery, thriller, whodunits. I hope you understand what they're doing. I truly hope that you understand what they're really doing. And like I said, all of this is just to keep you derailed and distracted. It's to keep you never addressing anything real. You've got multimillionaires and billionaires gaslighting you into thinking that they represent you, that they're one of you, that they stand for what you stand for, that they believe what you believe, that they have your principles and your values. But I'm telling you, there is a threshold of wealth. There's a threshold of wealth and privilege that, wallahi, once you cross it, it may as well be a portal to a different dimension, honestly. It gets me. Over there, you keep fussing about immigrants. You keep fussing about immigrants and foreigners, so-called taking over your countries. Meanwhile, your countries are actually completely under the control of the smallest, strangest, most predatory, and culturally foreign demographic imaginable, the super rich. I've said it before, the super rich, wallahi, the super rich should be regarded as foreigners no matter what country they're in. No matter what country they're in. They have nothing to do with the life of the average citizen of any country on earth. What do they have to do with the rest of us? Billionaires and multimillionaires, in my opinion, should be classified as a permanently alien nationality everywhere they go and everywhere that they are. An American or a British or a French billionaire is no more American or British or French than an immigrant to those countries. Do you understand me? An immigrant who toils and struggles right alongside the rest of the people. Do you actually think that you have more in common with a Bill Gates or a Mark Zuckerberg or a Sam Altman or an Elon Musk or some celebrity than you have in common with an immigrant from Guatemala or Honduras or Mexico who's working right alongside you? Wallahi, Gates and those people do not live in the same world that you and I live in, much less the same country. And I don't care how many so-called bad hombres that you have over there among immigrants or illegal immigrants or what have you. No, collectively, they could never do more harm to your society than those obscenely rich parasites that have captured your whole government, that play roulette with your economy, that are leeching off your taxes, that are pumping up the cost of living, that are at the same time suppressing the wages of tens of millions of people, not to mention laying off workers left and right, just to cut costs so that they can have greater bonuses. But you're over there getting mad about immigrants. Immigrants, by the way, who most of whose countries you robbed, you pillaged, and you looted. Immigrants who have every right, in my opinion, they have every right to come over there to where you took all of their resources, to where you took all of their stuff. No, immigrants from the global south go to America like going to a lost and found counter. Yeah, I'm here to retrieve my goods, please. I'm here to retrieve my property, please. And who did that, by the way? Who did all of that looting and pillaging and robbing and stealing? Those same millionaires and billionaires, those corporations and those shareholders, that alien elite. The alien elite who screenwrite all your narratives to interpret reality for you and are always pointing your focus away from them. That aristocracy of America, that bloated, insulated, debauched, sociopathic, degenerate class of the rich and powerful that you allow those people to tell you what to do and tell you what you should care about, and they lecture you about so-called spiritual warfare, cultural warfare, and what have you. Tell you about how to save America. Meanwhile, they've got jewelry that could pay off your whole mortgage and probably the mortgage of your whole block. Not to mention that we've seen what they do in their private lives, how they treat your most vulnerable young daughters like props, like party snacks. They're engaged in behaviors that no normal person would even imagine during a nightmare. I mean, they show you and show you and show you, and they tell you openly, actually, how much complete, dismissive, contemptuous disdain they have for you, that they have for your well-being and for the well-being of your society. But you just keep reaching for that same shelf. You do that. You keep reaching for the shelf that they're giving you those limited options on. Tell me, how on earth can the rest of us in the world, how are we supposed to differentiate between you, the average normal people, and what you accept and what you approve and what you applaud and what you pay for? I mean, like I said, you are letting them rewrite history in real time in the case of Charlie Kirk right in front of you, turning him into an American hero blow-up doll that bears no resemblance whatsoever to the worthless grifter that he really was. It means that genuine integrity and values and morals and principles mean nothing to you. It's like that stolen valor that you always talk about when there's people who pretend that they were soldiers and were never in the army, were never in the military. But somehow you're perfectly fine with manufacturing a folk hero icon out of nothing, out of the utterly undeserving. I mean, do you even grasp how degrading that is for you? How degrading it is to you yourselves? To have the fact that your heroes, your role models, are all either degenerate, greedy, narcissistic celebrities, or millionaires and billionaires, or else they are appointed for you by the power structure that is comprised of those degenerate millionaires and billionaires. They appoint your heroes for you, complete with ceremonial fireworks displays and balloons dropping from the ceiling. Your heroes that you have are all people that could not care less about your struggles. They could not care less about your suffering. They can't even relate to it. And they don't care even slightly whether you live or you die. Doesn't make any difference to them whatsoever. But now you've got your social media feeds, you've got your television networks and what have you, trying to convince you that those people are virtuous and you should look up to them. And you just compliantly pivot your attention towards them. You pivot your attention towards any shiny thing that they dangle in front of you, even if it's feces with Christmas tinsel on it.
I've spent a lot of time researching this Charlie Kirk fiasco. And I found this little clip, but I've not heard anybody mention. Not one, but, they might have missed somebody else. Some video somewhere pointing it out. I pulled it out of a little clip of some camera angle where they're picking him up from behind the desk. And he has full motor control over his neck and head. He's holding his head up on his own, which is concrete proof that Charlie Kirk was not murdered by a .30-06 gunshot. What happened after they put him in the SUV? I ain't got a clue.
What's up with the chair, man?